こんにちは。今日のスピーキングを始めます。Ocean water salinity. The average ocean salinity is 35 ppt, 35 parts per thousand. This number varies between about 32 and 37 ppt. Rainfall, evaporation, river runoff, and ice formation cause variations. For example, the Black Sea is so diluted by river runoff. Its average salinity is only 16 ppt. Freshwater salinity is usually less than 0.5 ppt. Water between 0.5 ppt and 17 ppt is called brackish. Estuary, where fresh river water meets salty ocean water, are examples of brackish waters. Most marine creatures keep salinity inside their bodies at about the same concentration as water outside their bodies because water lacks a balance. If an animal that usually lives in salt water were placed in fresh water, the fresh water would flow into the animal through its skin. If a freshwater animal found itself in the salty ocean, the water inside of it would rush out. The process by which water flows through a impermeable membrane, a material that lets only some things pass through it, such as the animal's skin from an animal of low concentration, lots of water, little salt, to an area of high concentration, little water, lots of salt, is called osmosis. This is also why humans, and nearly all mammals, cannot drink salt water. When you take in those extra salts, your body will need to expel them as quickly as possible. Your kidneys will try to flush the salt out of your body in urine, and in the process pump out more water than you are taking in. Soon you will be dehydrated, and your cells and organs will not be able to function properly. How rain is formed. The oceans are the chief source of rain, but lakes and rivers also contribute to it. The sun's heat evaporates the water. It remains in the atmosphere as an invisible vapor until it condenses first into clouds and then into raindrops. Condensation happens when the air is cooled. Air cools either through expansion or by coming into contact with a cool object, such as a cold landmass or an ice-covered expanse. When air passes over a cold object, it loses heat and its moisture condenses as fog, dew, or frost. Air also cools as it rises and expands. The water vapor in the cooling air condenses to form clouds and sometimes rain. Air rises for several reasons. Convergent drift occurs in cyclonic storms, such as tornadoes. Air whirling toward the center of a cyclone collides with itself and is forced upward. In convective drift, air coming into contact with a warm surface, such as a desert, is heated and becomes more buoyant than the surrounding air. In orographic drift, the air is forced upward as it condenses a cooler, denser body of air, or when it meets raised landforms such as mountains. For raindrops to form, there must be particulate matter in the air, such as dust or salt. At temperatures above freezing, these particles are cooled condensation nuclei. When the nuclei are cooled to temperature below the freezing point, water condenses around them in layers. The particles become so heavy, they resist updrafts and fall through the clouds. When the air temperature is at or below freezing all the way to ground, the precipitation falls as snow. Arctic tundra. Arctic tundra is located in the northern hemisphere, encircling the North Pole and extending south to the coniferous forest of the taiga. The Arctic is known for its cold, desert-like conditions. The growing season ranges from 50 to 60 days. The average winter temperature is minus 34 degrees Celsius, minus 30 degrees Fahrenheit, but the average summer temperature is 3 to 12 degrees Celsius, 37 to 54 degrees Fahrenheit, which enable this biome to sustain life. Rainfall may vary in different regions of the Arctic. Yearly precipitation, including melting snow, is 15 to 25 centimeters, 6 to 10 inches. Soil is formed slowly. A layer of permanently frozen subsoil, called permafrost exists, consisting mostly of gravel and finer materials. When water saturates the upper surface, bogs and ponds may form, providing moisture for plants. These are not deep root systems in the vegetation of the Arctic tundra. However, there are still a wide variety of plants that are able to resist the cold climate. These are about 1,700 kinds of plants in the Arctic and subarctic. All of the plants are adapted to sweeping winds and disturbances of the soil. Plants are short and clustered together to resist the cold temperatures and are protected by the snow during the winter. The fauna in the Arctic is also diverse. Animals are adapted to handle long, cold winters and to breed and raise young quickly in the summer. Animals such as mammals and birds also have additional insulation from fat. Many animals hibernate during the winter because food is not abundant. Another alternative is to migrate south in the winter, like birds do. Reptiles and amphibians are few or absent because of the extremely cold temperatures. Because of constant immigration and immigration, the population continually oscillates. An unintended consequence. Scientists have discovered the disturbing unintended consequence of genetic engineering. Pollen from a widely planted variety designed to strain of corn can kill monarch butterflies. Monarch caterpillars eating milkweed leaves dusted with pollen from the altered corn. Plants ate less, grew more slowly, and died more quickly. After 4 days, 44% of them had died versus none of the caterpillars that did not feed on the pollen. Monarchs are not an endangered species, but environmentalists fear that if the genetically engineered corn is killing the orange and black butterflies, it might be killing other insects and doing unseen damage to the food chain. The strain is called BT corn and is manufactured by the major agricultural companies. The corn is genetically engineered to produce a natural pesticide that kills the corn, destroying European corn borer. It was approved in the US by the Food and Drug Administration and hit the market in 1996. It accounted for more than 25% of the 40 million hectares of the corn planted in the US in 1998. BT corn has been touted by the industry as a way to fight a major pest without using chemicals. Conservation. In the 1980s, a number of wildlife biologists and conservation groups fostered a movement to restore the gray wolf to Yellowstone National Park. In the late 19th century, wolves were considered a nuisance by park visitors. Hunters would often poison the carcass of a downed elk in an attempt to decrease the wild canine population. A bounty was placed on wolves by the government, and by the 1920s, the population was eliminated. The reintroduction program was strongly protested by local ranchers who claimed that the animals would decimate area livestock. Despite the protests, the wolf restoration program began in 1985 with the release of 33 Kenyan wolves into the park. The wolves' population thrived in their new home, with the population at the end of 1987 numbering approximately 97 and continuing to grow. In only 2 years after the wolves were transported from Canada to the Wyoming park, they reduced the Yellowstone coyote population by almost 50%. In doing so, the wolves made a dramatic and beneficial impact on wildlife biodiversity in Yellowstone. In the absence of the wolves, coyotes have been the top predators in the ecosystem. At the top of the local food chain, along with grizzly bears, their population had grown large but remained extremely stable. Part of the reason for the coyotes' decline after the wolves were reintroduced may be territorial shifts. Some of the coyotes may have simply moved out of Yellowstone, but the main reason for the downsized coyote population was probably death at the jaws of the wolves. The decreased coyote population was a boon for rodent species such as ground squirrels, boars, and pocket gophers, which constituted most of the coyote diet. 終わり。